Baltimore oriole. Orioles weave pouch nests that hang from a tree branch. Trumpeter swan. Weighing over 20 pounds, trumpeter swans are the heaviest bird in North America. Black-crowned night heron. Night herons eat carrion and eggs in addition to fish, rodents, and invertebrates. American woodcock. The woodcock's amazing mating display involves repeated dives from 300 feet. Bald eagle. Bald eagles steal fish. Ben Franklin thought this was a bad choice for the U.S. national bird. Wild turkey. Wild turkeys were domesticated in the Americas before European contact. Scissor-tailed flycatcher. The mating display of these birds involves aerial acrobatics that show off the long tail. Golden eagle. Golden eagles mostly eat rabbit-sized prey, but can go after livestock and birds. Great horned owl. These strong owls can kill large prey, including skunks, cats, and dogs. White-faced ibis. White-faced ibises nest in colonies with herons and egrets. Blue-winged warbler. This warbler especially likes to nest on the edges between forest and fields. Prothonotory warbler. The name prothonotory comes from Catholic scribes who wore yellow hoods. Atlantic puffin. Puffin's breeding areas are threatened by climate change. Greater roadrunner. Roadrunners rarely fly, but will jump up to snatch prey out of the air. Hermit thrush. Hermit thrushes tend to nest on the ground in the western U.S. and in trees in the east. American bittern. Bitterns hide in reeds and cattails where they are well camouflaged. Purple gallinule. With its long toes, this bird can walk on lily pads without sinking. Northern shoveler. The shoveler's large bill strains invertebrates from the water. Great egret. Smaller birds will sometimes follow after great egrets as they stir up prey. Great egret. Smaller birds. Hooded warbler. This bird spends its time in the understory and nests within a few feet of the ground. This bird's unusually shaped bill helps it feel prey in the water. Rose-breasted grosbeak. This pretty, sweet-sounding bird has the gruesome nickname cutthroat. Common loon. Loon chicks spend the majority of their first week of life riding on a parent's back. Western tanager. These flame-colored birds are hard to see because they like the canopies of evergreen forests. Anhinga. This bird is called snakebird. It swims with only head and neck above water. American avocet. American avocets build their own nests, but also parasitize other birds' nests. Black skimmer. Skimmers plow the water with their beaks, snapping shut when they hit a fish. Ferruginous hawk. These rust-colored birds sometimes hunt in groups in prairie dog towns. Fish crow. These birds may eat more fish than other crows, but they're actually omnivores. Wood stork. The wood stork was removed from the U.S. endangered species list in 2014. Red crossbill. These birds use their specialized bills to pry apart conifer seed cones. Whooping crane. From its low of 20 birds, the whooping crane population has risen to about 600. Yellow-breasted chat. Because these birds like dense thickets, they are more often heard than seen. Common raven. Ravens are omnivores whose diet includes insects, rodents, eggs, birds, and carrion. Barrow's goldeneye. These ducks will lay their eggs in the nest of any cavity-nesting duck. Chestnut-collared longspur. This bird's population dropped by 82% between 1966 and 2015. Hooded merganser. Merganser chicks jump from their cavity nest to the ground when they're just 1 day old. Indigo bunting. Indigo buntings are almost always found on forest edges. Great blue heron. Great blue herons form rookeries with egrets, cormorants, and other herons. Swainson's hawk. These hawks feed chicks, small mammals, and birds, but adults eat mostly insects. Red-tailed hawk. Movies almost always use the red-tailed hawk's call for any raptor. Northern bobwhite. Bobwhites are prolific breeders, but their numbers are in decline. Peregrine falcon. Diving to attack. A peregrine falcon can reach speeds up to 200 miles per hour. Yellow-billed cuckoo. Yellow-billed cuckoos lay their eggs in other birds' nests when food is abundant. Common merganser. Adult males can eat fish more than a foot long. American kestrel. Kestrels track rodents by their urine and will cache surplus kills for later. Barn owl. Barn owls use their excellent hearing to catch prey in the dark and will cache surplus for later. Burrowing owl. These owls often use old prairie dog burrows for their underground nests. Sandhill crane. Sandhill cranes can live for decades and mate for life. American white pelican. Pelicans work together to herd fish and then scoop them up. Say's phoebe. Thomas Say also has snails, crabs, and a snake named after him. American oyster catcher. These birds feed not just on oysters and shellfish, but also other invertebrates. Bronzed cowbird. Cowbirds lay eggs in other birds' nests and often break or push out the host bird's eggs. Spotted owl. Habitat for these birds was a topic in logging fights in the Pacific Northwest region of the U.S. Gray catbird. Catbirds mimic other birds and also have a call that sounds like a cat meowing. Clark's nutcracker. These birds are omnivorous, but cache thousands of pine seeds for the winter. Great crested flycatcher. These birds avoid competition by focusing on insects high up in trees. Osprey. Ospreys are excellent hunters, catching a fish in at least 1 out of every 4 dives. Wilson's snipe. Snipes can fly up to 60 miles per hour. Good snipers can shoot them. Painted bunting. Poachers sell these birds as pets, making it harder for wild populations to thrive. Greater prairie chicken. One subspecies of this bird went extinct in 1932, and a Texas form is endangered. Spotted sandpiper. These sandpipers constantly bob their tails. People call them teeter peeps and tiptails. Horned lark. Horned larks form large nomadic flocks, mixing with other bird species. Clark's grebe. Clark was a 19th century surveyor who collected specimens for the Smithsonian. Steller's jay. Naturalist Georg Steller saw this bird on a Russian exploration to Alaska in 1741. Acorn woodpecker. In a single dead tree, these birds may drill as many as 50,000 holes for storing acorns. Bell's vireo. John Graham Bell taught taxidermy to future U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt. Willet. Willets feed during the day and the night. Snowy egret. In the 1880s, these birds' wispy plumes were literally worth their weight in gold. Eastern screech owl. These owls live near humans, but because they're small and nocturnal, they're rarely seen. Mississippi kite. These birds mostly eat large insects, but they'll also eat rodents, bats, and birds. Cassin's finch. 15 birds are named after ornithologist John Cassin, including 2 in this game. Ruby-throated hummingbird. Hummingbirds feed on nectar, but they also eat many small insects. Juniper Titmouse. These little birds make it through winter by storing seeds. Yellow-headed blackbird. These blackbirds form huge flocks, especially in winter. Dickcissel. This bird used to live in the eastern U.S., but its range has shrunk due to habitat loss. Ring-billed gull. These gulls steal food and eggs from other birds and scavenge at garbage dumps. Brown pelican. Seriously endangered in the 1970s, brown pelicans are thriving after the U.S. and Canada banned DDT. Bobolink. Emily Dickinson wrote poems about these birds as rowdy choristers in her Church of Nature. Ash-throated flycatcher. These birds are adapted to dry places. They get all their water from their food. Bluebirds struggle to breed where there is a lack of tree cavities. Nest boxes help. Mountain bluebird. These birds can be found from prairies up to alpine zones above tree line. Red-headed woodpecker. These woodpeckers store nuts, seeds, and insects in wood or under bark. Blue grosbeak. Grosbeaks especially like tangled vines and shrubby areas on forest edges. Black-necked stilt. When not breeding, stilts form closely packed groups and will mob predators. Chihuahuan Raven. This bird is native to the Chihuahuan Desert of the southwest U.S. and northern Mexico. Anna's hummingbird. These birds' impressive mating displays involve diving from over 100 feet in the air. Forster's tern. These birds nest on the ground, on a raft of floating vegetation, or on muskrat lodges. American crow. These intelligent birds steal eggs and food from other birds and cache food for later. Lazuli bunting. The Latin name Amina means beautiful or charming. Wood duck. Wood ducks nest in tree cavities in wooded areas. King rail. King rails declined 91% from 1966 to 2014 due to habitat loss and pesticide runoff. Green heron. Green herons drop insects and other objects onto the water to attract fish. Red Cockaded Woodpecker. This bird is endangered due to habitat loss. There may be fewer than 10,000. Belted kingfisher. The kingfisher burrow can go up to 6 feet into a riverbank and slopes to shed water. Black tern. These terns build floating nests out of marsh plants. Cerulean Warbler. Between 1966 and 2015, this species lost 74% of its population. Pleated Woodpecker. Other birds use these birds' old nests and glean bugs where they've been feeding. Buick's wren. These wrens have largely disappeared in the eastern part of their range due to nest predators. Common grackle. In winter, grackles roost in large flocks that can include millions of individuals. Brewer's blackbird. Brewer was a prominent 19th century ornithologist and oologist. Dark-eyed junco. Juncos summer in the cool woods, but will use more open habitats in the winter. Pine siskin. Pine siskins are gregarious, traveling in flocks to look for food. Cassin Sparrow. Ornithologist John Cassin died from years of handling arsenic-preserved birds. American coot. These omnivorous birds eat a lot of algae, but also seeds, fish, insects, and mollusks. Cedar waxwing. Cedar waxwings are one of the only birds in North America that eat exclusively fruit. American goldfinch. Goldfinches breed late after the milkweed and thistle have gone to seed. Violet green swallow. Like other swallows, these birds forage in large groups in open areas. Loggerhead shrike. Shrikes impale their prey on thorns or barbed wire and may save them for later. House finch. These finches are rarely alone and can flock in the hundreds. California quail. California quail nests have been reported with as many as 28 eggs. Baird sparrow. Spencer Baird was the first curator of the Smithsonian. Tree swallow. Tree swallows can form flocks numbering in the hundreds of thousands. Chimney swift. These birds have adapted to nest in chimneys instead of hollow trees. Blue jay. Blue jays can carry up to 5 acorns and will store hundreds for winter. Lincoln Sparrow. Thomas Lincoln collected this sparrow in Canada with John James Audubon. Common nighthawk. Nighthawks are crepuscular, hunting flying insects at dawn and dusk. Northern harrier. Northern harriers fly low over marshes and grasslands seeking prey. Cooper's hawk. Cooper's hawks hunt forest birds and mammals with great stealth. Red-shouldered hawk. These hawks hunt from a perch, swooping down when prey is nearby. Barred owl. The barred owl's haunting call sounds like, "Who cooks for you?" Black-billed magpie. These omnivores steal eggs and eat carrion along with a diversity of other foods. Double-crested cormorant. Cormorant colonies can be so dense that their guano kills the trees. Brown-headed cowbird. Cowbirds do not make nests. They lay their eggs in other birds' nests. Downey woodpecker. This little woodpecker frequently joins mixed flocks. Franklin's gull. These gulls make floating nests of plant material on prairie marshes. Sprague's pipit. This rare bird's mating display can last for over an hour. Yellow-bellied sapsucker. Sapsuckers drill rows of holes in trees, then lap up the sap and the insects it attracts. Northern cardinal. In most North American species, only males sing, but female cardinals break this rule. Canada goose. The oldest known wild Canada goose was at least 33 years old. Red-eyed vireo. Nearsighted vireos flock with other birds that make noise if predators are around. Eastern phoebe. Phoebes use mud to attach nests to riverbanks, rocky outcrops, or human structures. Inca dove. This bird likes human settlements and is expanding its range north. Tufted titmouse. Titmice are key in the formation of mixed-species flocks. Ruby-crowned kinglet. Kinglets' ruby-red crown feathers pop up when they are agitated. Northern flicker. These woodpeckers seek out ground-dwelling insects rather than pecking wood. Savannah Sparrow. This sparrow is named after both Savannah, Georgia, and Sandwich Sound, Alaska. White-breasted nuthatch. Nuthatches cache seeds for winter in the bark of a tree. Pygmy nuthatch. These flocking birds often have helper birds bringing food during nesting season. Carolina chickadee. Chickadees hide seeds and can remember thousands of hiding places. Red-breasted nuthatch. These birds put resin around their nest opening to keep out attackers. Black vulture. Turkey vultures have a better sense of smell, so black vultures follow them to food. Western meadowlark. This pretty bird also has a beautiful flute-like song. Eastern kingbird. The kingbird displays its orange crown while defending its territory. Northern mockingbird. A male mockingbird may learn around 200 songs throughout its life. Mountain chickadee. Mountain chickadees are generally found in the conifer forests of the American West. Grasshopper Sparrow. The grasshopper-like song of these sparrows is often overlooked. White-crowned Sparrow. These sparrows like shrubby areas in many habitats, from tundra to desert. Red-winged Blackbird. Blackbird flocks can include hundreds of thousands of birds. Purple Martin. Native Americans hung gourds as houses for these birds because they eat so many bugs. Bush-tit. Bush-tits live in flocks, and single adults will help couples raise their young. Black-bellied whistling duck. These ducks really do whistle. Blue-gray gnatcatcher. Gnatcatcher's breeding range is steadily shifting north with climate change. Killdeer. Killdeers will fake a broken wing to lure predators from their nests. California condor. There were just 22 of these scavengers alive in the 1980s, but there are now over 200. House wren. House wrens will remove the eggs of other birds and take over their nests. Red-bellied woodpecker. These birds' tongues reach out 2 inches for insects, but seeds are half their diet. Turkey vulture. Turkey vultures can projectile vomit to defend themselves. Yellow-rumped warbler. Birders sometimes call these birds butterbutts. Carolina wren. A single male Carolina wren can sing nearly 3,000 times in a single day. Chipping sparrow. These sparrows generally feed on open ground, but near trees. Barn swallow. Barn swallows once nested in caves, but now favor human-made structures. Common yellowthroat. This was one of the first American birds to be cataloged by Linnaeus in 1766. American robin. Robins have been known to roost in groups of 100,000 or more. Mallard. Mallards are among the most abundant ducks in the world. Pied-billed grebe. Pied-billed grebes create a floating platform nest with plant material. Mourning dove. One pair of doves may raise 5 or 6 small broods in a year. Spotted towhee. These birds forage by hopping backwards to uncover insects and seeds in the leaf litter. Ruddy duck. To display for mates, males slap their bluebills on their chests and run across the water. Song sparrow. When resources are abundant, song sparrows can rear 4 clutches of eggs.